All right, Mafia, what's good? Obviously, Bills lose 21-19. Heartbreaking loss, a tough way to lose, but let's talk about it. So I don't want to talk too much about the entirety of the game. There's some things and points that I want to get across and talk about with you guys today. But just quickly, I will go through the drives. First drive, Bills touchdown, then the Dolphins punt, the Bills fumble, Dolphins touchdown, Bills touchdown, Dolphins touchdown, Bills punt, surprisingly, Dolphins punt, and then it's the end of the half, whatever. Bills miss the spike or whatever. That's really annoying. Backup center. I hope he gets cut after this game. I'm sorry, but you suck. Dolphins start the third quarter with a punt. Bills get a field goal. Dolphins punt again. Bills miss a field goal. Tyler Bass just absolutely shanked that. Bum move right there. Dolphins get the winning touchdown. Bills turn it over on downs. Dolphins take a safety after punting it up the guy's ass, and then the Bills lose at the end of the game. So, just a really shitty game all around. I mean, the Bills played just fine. Allen threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he threw the ball 63 times. That's not okay. That's not good. Tua only threw the ball 18 times and they won. So, like, what does that tell you? It means nothing. Allen, once again, the leading rusher. Devin Singletary did absolutely nothing. Zach Moss had one big run for 43 yards and he had 3 yards on 3 carries. Devin Singletary had a great game receiving. 9 catches, 78 yards, a touchdown. McKenzie was the leading wide receiver. Gabe Davis didn't do much. Diggs had an alright game. I mean, it just looks disappointing. Like, this is the kind of game that the Bills should win, and they just don't. Like, it's a trap game. What happened? I just don't know. Like, the amount of injuries and stuff, we'll get to that later, but oh my god, Allen fumbles 3 times, Crowder fumbled, I didn't even know that. Mark Hamlin had a half a sack, Greg Russo had 1.5 sacks. 2 tackles for loss. He had a great game. Pretty much the only thing outside of maybe Allen that really played well for the Bills. Our secondary was toast. I'm sorry. Like, we had our 5th string corner in there. It's just not a recipe for success. You're not going to win many games with depleted backup secondaries like this. It's just not going to happen. Now let's talk about the things that I really wanted to talk about with you guys about this game. Number 1, I do believe that this is a direct comparable to the game last year versus New England, the wind game. We all know what happened. Mac Jones threw 3 passes. The Patriots won 14-10, and everybody was like, oh my god, the Patriots are back after 1 year. They're going to win the division, blah, blah, blah. And then guess what? We went into Foxborough and we kicked their ass the next game. We kicked their ass, plain and simple. And then what happened in the playoffs in Buffalo in the negative whatever degree weather? Who cares? The Bills pummeled them. Historic game there. I guarantee, and you can clip this, you can bookmark this, you can Twitter this, whatever. This is the exact same situation here with the Dolphins and the Bills. The weather today was out of control. It was so hot out, all right? We had people dropping left and right on both sides of the ball like flies. Like literal flies. They were like dying out there. Everybody was getting injured. Diggs. Everybody was injured constantly. We were down to like our 10 millionth string offensive line. Our secondary we already know is depleted. But I guarantee later in the season in Buffalo when it's colder, the Bills are going to kick the ever-living shit out of this Miami team. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Miami is a good football team. They're going to make the playoffs. However, the Bills are better. And you can Dolphins fans who cry, oh, stat sheet. I know what it looks like. But if you look at the stats, the Bills still kicked your ass. They kind of choked. I'll be honest. Like, Allen misses the game-winning touchdown to McKenzie by throwing it into the dirt. How often does that happen? It's a game of inches. It's a week-to-week league. Things can happen. But if you do this game 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, the Bills kick their ass. It's plain and simple. The Bills dominated. They just couldn't get it done. Like I said, the Bills did outplay them, but the Bills also beat themselves in this game. Let's go through a couple things, all right? Milano dropped a wide-open walk-in pick 6. Gabe Davis dropped a touchdown in the end zone. Bills missed a field goal. You already know the 20 million injuries and the 4th and 5th string corners for pretty much the entire game. The safeties that didn't really do much. They missed a lot of mental mistakes. I also want to note that after the game, the NFLPA is investigating the Tua concussion thing. When Milano pushed him and he hit his head and he left the game. They're looking into that because they might think there was some wrong protocol there. Like, they just kind of like, oh, you're good? All right, go, kind of thing. You saw how Tua was walking out there. He was like wobbling and crippling and falling down, you know. I think it might have just been his back. That's what he said. That's kind of like, if you ever had that back issue, like your back just gives out. I don't think he hit his head that hard to be like, oh, wobbling around and stuff. I think he'll be all right. I think by the end of next week or Thursday, the Dolphins play, he's going to be all right. He's going to be fine. I don't want to see the Bills win just because the Dolphins starting quarterback gets injured and then they furiously implode and shit themselves, all right? Like, I want to win a good competitive game, and this was a good competitive game minus the weather. Like, if you take weather out of this game, Bills win it 100% of the time. We know that, all right? And I know I might sound salty or upset, which is kind of true. I'll admit it. Like, I'm mad the Bills lost. But at the end of the day, in this league, you're going to lose games. Like, it's impossible, almost impossible to go undefeated. As a fan, we get so emotionally invested in these teams and we want to see them win week after week. We love seeing our favorite guys play well. We love seeing Josh Allen throw piss missiles down the field. Love to see big Diggs catches, Gabe Davis going off. We like to see our star safeties out there, but it happens. That's life. People get injured. You lose. You win some. Whatever. After seeing DeMar Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson play, I do think Jordan Poyer will be back next week. At least we hope. Do you look at bringing in a free safety to play alongside Poyer? Because I don't know if these young guys are it. Like, I don't know. A lot of mental mistakes in this game. The one that I can think of right now, it was the number 85 on the Dolphins. Don't know his name. Touchdown. It was like triple coverage. If Jaquan Johnson just went a little bit earlier, he turned his hips, he could have picked it off. Like, stuff like that, you know. Lots of mistakes in this game by those two. But again, they don't have much experience in this league, so to that you can't fault them. But for what the Bills are playing for here, they're a top 5, top 3, top 1 team in the league. You know, you can't have these mental mistakes. You need the best roster you could possibly get, and I don't even know who you could go get to play safety with Poyer, all right? I don't know, but I'm sure there's something out there. I'm sure Bean's going to be looking, and who knows, maybe they bring a guy in. If there's anybody in the league that you think the Bills should get, let me know, because I know there is one guy, but he doesn't play safety. He plays wide receiver, and it's Odell Beckham Jr. I know the Bills have a great wide receiver room with Diggs, Davis, Crowder, McKenzie. But after seeing that game today, I really feel like OBJ is the missing piece. Don't get me wrong, the Bills are already good, but we saw what he did to the Rams when he got accustomed to their offense. And especially if we lose a guy like Diggs or Davis long term, or we lose them in the postseason, they're done for the postseason, we got OBJ to step in on the boundary. You don't got to rely on a guy like Jake Kumro, who, keep in mind, also got injured in this game, just like everybody else did. I don't know how much longer OBJ has. I do think he's probably going to end up signing with the Rams anyways, just because he's familiar, you know. That's what it's looking like. But I really hope Bean can clear some cap space when it comes time. It can make a really good effort to go get him because this team really needs him. I'm not going to lie. Another potential concern for this Bills team is that offensive line, especially the depth. Did not look good at all. They need to look at getting a new backup center, plain and simple. Greg Van Roten is dog shit. I'm sorry. Lots of missed snaps. You saw how frustrated Allen was in this game. I wonder if that has to do with the heat just making him angry, because I know personally when I get way too hot outside or whatever, you know, you get frustrated easier, right? How much does that offensive line, that center play, those bad snaps have to do? Like the end of the half, the first half, you know, we saw that botched snap where the Bills were trying to spike the ball, but once you botch a snap on a spike, can't spike it, so he had to whip it to Diggs. Almost a pick six. Thankfully it wasn't. Diggs catches it, gets a couple yards at the end of the half. Those mistakes you can't have. Like, the Bills could have won this game. You get the field goal there, 17-14. Get the other field goal, 20. Like, you're in a much better position now. You have a much better chance to win this game. When they're driving down that McKenzie pass that they missed at the end of the game, that's a field goal. Boom, you won the game. Congratulations. But, you know, again, week-to-week league, it's going to happen. You're going to lose. You're going to have mistakes. This is a really good team. At the end of the day, we know that, and I have faith they're going to be all right. This is still their division. Bills still run the East. It's one game. Mafia, don't turn your heads over it. We're going to be all right. That's going to be it for this video, Mafia. Thank you so much for watching. I know it was a disappointing game to watch, but at the end of the day, we got the Ravens next week. Should have the game preview for that coming out soon. Leave your thoughts about the game in the comments down below, and on your way out, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I'd greatly appreciate it. And you know, as a wise man once said, go Bills.